Alrighty, all welcome back to the channel. We're back on the internet together again today. First off, we're going to start off this episode with another home invasion in Melbourne. We're starting it off light as per usual.
Good evening. A Thomastown father of three has told of his young family's terrifying ordeal, targeted by a gang of machete-wielding thugs who tried to smash their way into their home. He told crime reporter Gillian Lantouris he had to fight them off as they repeatedly demanded the keys to his car.
2 minutes of terror.
Another day, another home invasion, another machete threat, another attack.
A gang of teens pull up at a Thomastown house and unleash on a young family.
They had some knives and machetes in their hands. They were like, young kids.
The 5 teens made their way back to their car before terrified resident Faisal Nazim heard this.
They came to their car and then one said, oh, let's grab the machetes and go back.
When they returned, the 43-year-old tried to barricade himself and his wife and 3 young children in.
Have a listen to that. Let's go get the machetes and go back like it's nothing. Once again, the news isn't saying where they're from. What's the background? What's the appearance? If it was Caucasians, straight up, face is going to be on the news unblurred. As I said, it's just, I'm going to call it out every single time. Every single time.
Inside, as the armed thugs demanded his car keys.
They went inside and we tried to hold the door back. They tried to break in again, like a couple of times, kicked, and then they just ran away. It felt to me like it was just a fun thing for them.
The violence unfolded just before 6 this morning. The gang left empty-handed, spooked by a neighbour who called police.
Yeah, I was a bit rattled at first in the beginning because usually...
Yeah, just a fun thing. Just a group of 5 or 6 kids with machetes. That's Melbourne. That's the pastime now. What happened to teenagers going down and smashing long necks and durries in the park? A local park, a local reserve, getting maggoted, lying face down in the grass. Nah, let's get knives now and stolen cars and let's go and carjack people, kick their doors in. That's just a bit of fun, guys. It's a bit of a fun thing.
Usually you see this on TV and I never thought that this is going to happen around my place, and usually it's pretty quiet neighbourhood.
This morning's attack comes after a week of similar terrifying incidents involving teenagers with weapons. It has brought into question how well the government's machete amnesty is really working.
No one should be feeling unsafe in their home. Everyone has the right to feel safe and to be safe in their home, in their community.
That's right. Yep, those machete bins are working well, guys. I hope you guys are happy with the $13 million of our taxpayer money that was spent fabricating those bins. $13 million. I think it was for about 40-odd bins. Let's do the maths on that. Sounds like something a bit dodgy going on there. Where'd the money go? Does it really take $13 million to fabricate 40 stainless steel bins and install them? Anyway, they're not working, are they? The amnesty. All right, guys. Now, there's an amnesty. You need to hand in your machetes. Free, you're going to be free from persecution. Oh, okay. Well, we're not seeing those kids line up, are we, and put them in the bin, in an orderly fashion. Mum and Dad take them down. Put the machetes and knives and whatever other bladed weapons in the bin. That's not happening. It's, who's putting things in the bins? It's Grandma and Grandpa who are scared. They watch the news and they're scared that ASIO is going to have a helicopter flying over their roof with the spotlight because they've got a machete in the backyard, in the back shed. They think the whole, SWAT team's going to come and kick the door in. Alrighty, so following on from this, Victorian crime rages on.
Machete bans, machete bins, new bail laws, but Victoria's crime crisis shows no sign of letting up.
So with repeat offenders seemingly thumbing their noses at the law and victims terrified in their own homes, what is the answer? Sam Butler has this special 10 News Plus investigation.
Family terrorised in its home by a pair of masked teenagers. 45 people are suspected of being responsible for almost 2,000 burglaries.
Did you hear that? 45 people. Expose who are they? 45 people assumed responsible for 2,000 or more burglaries. I wonder who that would be. Nah, G-Man, you're racist.
And car thefts. 2 armed intruders who broke into her home and demanded she hand over her car keys. The Premier has been forced to face the state's crime crisis.
We have the toughest bail laws, and today we're making them even tougher.
Violent home invasions, carjackings, stabbings and repeat offenders running rampant. Crime has soared to record levels in Victoria, yet the Premier insists Melbourne is safe.
Nothing to see here, dude. Come into the Melbourne CBD. Come on, come do your shopping, everyone. There's no issues in Victoria. What are you talking about? There's no African crime problem. There's no Middle Eastern crime problems here. Stop being racist. How dare you say that? That shows that you are not multicultural and inclusive. Nothing to see here. There's no African gang problem here. Nothing. Nothing of the sort. There's no Middle Eastern crime going on. Nothing.
But those impacted by the crime wave firsthand have a very different opinion. So we asked them, who's to blame? How did we get here? And is there anything that can be done about it? A former Premier, the head of the Police Association, a retired top cop, a leading youth advocate, and the victim of a brazen home invasion. How would you describe the level of crime in Victoria?
Absolutely out of control, particularly youth crime.
They're not afraid to use the machetes now, and I think that thrill and that adrenaline hit is getting more and more alarming, and I can't...
It's the adrenaline hit. Yeah, I can understand that. But the machete thing, I just don't get it. I really don't understand it. What, you get a thrill out of hitting people with a weapon that is very, very likely to cause serious long-term mutilation, disfigurement, and or potential death in one hit, and that's a thrill. Anyone who runs around with a machete, put on the barge. Put them on the barge, put it out into the middle of Port Phillip Bay for a week, let nature do its thing, come back, refill, keep doing it. We need a clean-up. We need Robocop. We need Robocop out there. What's going on? Because whatever's happening at the moment, definitely not working. It's getting worse. And it's very interesting that it's Victoria. Victoria is the crime capital of the country. Far outstrips any other state. Wonder why that would be.
Can't understand why these kids are constantly getting let out. Even when they're caught, they're getting let out again, and there's no consequences whatsoever for their actions.
People are becoming quickly scared to go about their business. They're becoming scared to stay in their homes. They're changing the way they live in our community.
There is no leadership from the top. There is no respect for the top, and the young people think it's all a game.
4 youths armed with machetes broke into Adele Andrews' home back in March while she and her husband and their 2 young children were asleep. They took off with the family's 2 cars, a wallet, handbag, and her daughter's piggy bank.
These kids need to have some sort of a fear that if they get caught, something bad's going to happen, or there's going to be severe consequences that's going to remove them from their life as they know it today.
I've been saying that, but no, you can't do that, G-Man. Look, they're disaffected youth, and punishing them, it doesn't work. So what? We just let them run with free rein, do we? Robocop goes out, you stuff around, that's a consequence.
And they're going to have to learn some pretty tough lessons, and that's just not being done.
This hasn't happened by accident. This is intentional government policy that has reduced the court's impact.
There is no doubt the impact of COVID disrupting young men's education, the discipline that goes with that, the learning, the socialising.
So we know there are a lot of root causes.
Don't get me started on all of that, because he's not wrong there. The whole of society was uprooted. The whole of society was disrupted. Many people lost their livelihoods. There's no repercussions for anyone there, is there? People offing themselves because they're locked up in the house, or they get divorced because the relationships crumble under pressure. Businesses go on bust. People losing jobs. Forced to do things they may not want to do. But that's all right. It is untold generational damage was done. Anyway, so I actually don't disagree with that. But let's be honest, these kids are 16 years old, 17 years old, running around and kicking indoors, maybe 18. They would have been 13 when this whole COVID thing popped off. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the right the right root cause? I don't know, you guys, put in the comments, what do you think? I'm literally trying to work this out. Is it more because a lot of people have given up as well? So the disaffected youth have also gone, well, you know what? There's no point being on the straight and narrow. I'm never going to be able to make something of myself anyway because the chips are stacked against you. Houses are over $1 million. Jobs are hard to get. I'm not. Once again, I'm not supporting any crime, but you got to think about why they're doing it. Is it that they're fun? They're bored. They don't have a job. They don't have a cause. They don't have anything to keep their minds occupied, or they're just bad apples.
That we're currently not looking at. Some of those patterns include trauma. It can include housing insecurity and homelessness. It can include exposure to things like family violence, both seeing family violence but also experiencing it directly themselves.
The answer to this is what happens when we find them with these knives and we take them to court. Because you can have all the bans in the world, but if you get to the court door and nobody gets a custodial sentence, game over.
The Corrections Minister announcing the reopening of the Malmesbury.
I think there are too many bleeding hearts as well. That lady was very empathetic. Okay, you've had these things happen to you, but it doesn't give you full license to commit crimes, to damage the lives of others. At the very least, take people's property. At the very worst, maiming or ending them. Psychological damage of hitting someone. Can you imagine the psychological damage of being attacked with a machete and surviving it? There would definitely be some trauma there for most people. So I get it. People come from harsh upbringings. Maybe the parenting isn't good. Lots of DV and things like that happening in the home. Is that an excuse?
Youth Justice Centre.
What would you say to people who would argue that locking up kids means that when they're released, they'll only fall back into a life of crime?
Rubbish. We're past that stage now. We've got to think about the rights
barge,
of the public.
Jeff.
The rights of the law-abiding 99% of the community. It's all right for us to sit here and say, oh yes, what about A, B, C and D? But how does a family react when their son is macheted to death? And you and I say, oh, what about the rights of the offender? They have no rights. They've lost their rights.
They go on the barge, Jeff. Put them on there, mate.
They've got to be punished. And
we need to talk about, okay, I'm sure there are non-African or Middle Eastern people running around with machetes and all of that. It seems like it's en vogue for people to do that, in vogue, however you say that. It's popular. It's all the rage with the youngsters these days with their 25-inch machete. But why aren't they saying, all right, these are the stats. These are the family. These are the backgrounds and heritages of people who are committing these crimes. You know, it's 80% African, 15% Middle Eastern, 5% Caucasian. Why aren't they doing that? They'll sweep it under the rug. Like, where's the real hot spot? What's the demographic here that's doing this? And then how do they combat that? It's not a racist thing to raise this. It's a very big elephant in the room. Most people won't say it because in Victoria or anywhere in Australia, you can't say anything about anybody if they're not white. It's all right if you're white, like full rain on you. They'll go in for you. But if you're not white, there seems to be a different approach. That's why I call out every single time I see those clips. They don't zoom in, they don't clear them up to see who it is, and it makes it difficult to ascertain where they're from, potentially. Oh, well, they're born in Australia. You guys know what I'm talking about.
And whether that's a juvenile detention centre, whether that's some sort of a facility where they're told to go and learn new skills or do something useful, and no home comforts, no PlayStations, no TVs, get them back to basics and teach them skills so that they come out with something meaningful. They've created something, but they've also learned a lesson that what they've done doesn't permit them to be in today's society.
I think getting out to a prison farm overseen by officers where they can physically work, take you out of the community, put you into a place where you're working physically during the day, you're educated in the evening, and you go and have a good night's sleep.
What we do know is that punitive...
I don't know, Jeff, it sounds like a holiday to me for someone who's whacking people with machetes and doing home invasions and robberies and all sorts on the barge. I don't care where you're from. White, green, black, blue, yellow, don't care where you're from. You're on the barge if you're doing this shit. Get out of here. We need to clean up. We need to clean up. Well, I'm going to leave it there if you guys want to watch that. I can link it in the video description. But we get the gist. So that's the first half of the show. We're talking Melbourne crime. So if you're interested in subscribing to the channel, consider doing so. It's greatly appreciated. And link, comment, and share. The channel's growing, and I appreciate everyone who comes and watches my videos here every day. I know most of the time it isn't very uplifting, but I like to talk about things that we all talk about at home, around the dinner table, with our family, our friends. I like to bring it onto the internet. All right, let's keep moving. We've got a little bit of a mix here, so we're going to be talking... Well, this is an interesting story. So this is about a guy who's going out and he's got his own sort of, what do they call it? Vigilante PDF file hunting. If you know what a PDF file is, I can't say the word on here. I'll be demonetized.
The stings are simple. She did tell you multiple times that she was 13, correct? In the messages, yes.
She did tell you that she was 15, correct? You're that guy who came to meet a 13-year-old girl and also an 11-year-old girl, isn't it?
Men online thinking they're chatting with underage girls. The messages sexual and lurid.
She never said she was 16, right?
Yep.
She said she was?
14 last day she told me. There's a couple naughty photos.
A couple naughty photos?
Yes.
So would this be your
He's a vigilante in a beanie. Online name, FaZe Nighthawk.
Why is it wrong? Because they're underage. They're underage.
He trawls internet dating apps, posing as an underage girl, but his targets won't meet a minor, just a camera.
Please don't. I'm sorry.
Can you please not upload this?
But this month, his crusade took a dramatic turn.
Wait, hold on, you just got here.
Cupcakes. Hey, let's just have a conversation, mate.
One of America's highest profile vigilantes flew in to team up with Australia's Nighthawk.
Listen, we're not going to hurt you. You're okay. Here, shake my hand.
US YouTuber Gideon Adams has...
I don't know. I don't think that this is... I don't know. I'm a bit mixed feelings about this because they are setting the people up, but obviously they do have the potential in them to go and do these things, which are clearly not good. But they are setting them up. But on the other hand, they'll be doing it to legitimate teenage girls off these dating apps and chat sites. I think they masquerade as a lot younger than they are and all that sort of thing. Just creepy dudes grooming women. But yeah, this video is more around this guy's getting warned for doing it because of the legalities around it.
8.5 million followers.
And do you have a wife or anything? Yes. You do? Does your wife know you're here? No.
They call it pred catching, coaxing confessions from suspected predators with promises.
Yeah, my wife knows I'm here with a 14-year-old girl off the internet. Okay.
The videos will never go public.
This is just for our documentation. It's not going to go anywhere.
And that police won't be called.
He admitted to everything.
However, they are, and the evidence handed over. But there's a problem.
It may not hold up at all.
It's likely inadmissible in court. Police pleading for cooperation instead.
We support the notion of catching predators online and working with the community to do that.
Warnings that the vigilantes could face charges themselves: harassment, assault, stalking, illegal recording, defamation.
That's what I was saying about setting them up. Well, what I'm saying is I'm not supporting it or feeling sorry for them, but it's going to be seen that way. You're entrapping somebody into a situation for content, for clicks. Maybe something they wouldn't have done if you didn't put the option in front of them. Now, I'm not saying, right, if they've gone and done it and they thought it was a 13 or 14 or 15-year-old girl and they're 30 years old, clearly a big problem there. But you can see the court twisting that around, what I'm saying here. I'm playing devil's advocate. And these people get off.
Breaking the law in their attempts to enforce it. And even worse,
you may possibly destroy any capacity we have of bringing these people to justice.
Condemning too the visiting vigilante as they apply their public shaming on partners too.
We actually went to his wife's house to let her know what was going on.
Who died and made them God?
Chris Reason, 7 News.
Every year...
I don't know. Well, obviously there are not government-funded bodies doing this. Preventative work. So I'm not saying they're God, but it's clearly done as well to drive revenue off a YouTube channel. So that could be argued as well, entrapping people for clicks. I don't know. It's a bit of a complex one. All right, so we're talking housing again. We're getting back on it. This is the last segment of the show for the last 10 or so minutes here. I like to keep them around 30 minutes for you all. First home buyer schemes pricing Australians out further. Yes is the answer. Let's watch this. And then I've got another short clip talking about the more recent price growth here in Australia in property over the last month.
A lot of confidence. This is an absolute surprise package from the street.
This townhouse is about to go under the hammer, and it's shaping up to be a hot auction.
First auction, pretty stressful. You can kind of feel the tension in the air.
Yeah, an auction, you just don't know what the price range will be and the interest, but there seems to be a lot of interest.
Yeah, lots of people here today.
To end up with 20 plus registered buyers at an auction for a townhouse in Mountain Cravat in the south of Brisbane, just extraordinary. 1-1. Good luck to you, man.
In online advertising, it was listed among properties under $1 million. As bidding kicks off, it's clear it'll go for much more.
150, maybe straight to 1.2 with some confidence.
In the end, it's a duel between two young couples.
Man, have I got your absolute best? 1527 500. We are.
1.5. Now they're looking pretty young, right? 30, maybe under 30, late 20s. How are they pulling 1.5 deposit of 1.5 for 1.5 million together? Or is it that 5% deposit thing now? So, because what's a 20% deposit on 1.5 million? That's $300,000, right? What's 5% of that? It's $75,000. So that's probably doable with a couple of professionals, young professionals, without any other much responsibilities or huge expenses, maybe still in the parents. They can probably muster that up together pretty quick. But you got to think about this. So you've got a $1.5 million house, say it's 5% at $75,000, plus the transaction costs. So you pay up for another 70 to 80 grand in stamp duty. Now you've also got a lifetime of debt. So it's all fun and exciting when you're at the auction and you win in the auction. You've got to fucking pay for the thing for the next 30 years.
The winners are thrilled, but even they didn't expect the final price tag of more than $1.5 million.
Not that high, but yeah, hey, the market's crazy, so yeah. But we're happy, we're just glad to be able to move here.
Yeah, you like it, you got to go for it. That sums it up, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure that guy probably got pressured into buying the joint, but you like it, you got to go for it. I don't think he had a choice in the matter by the sounds of that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's get onto the mortgage broker and go to the third-party lenders and just try and get as much money as we can, and we'll worry about that later.
Pretty insane, big competition, but yeah, went for a lot more than what expected.
That's crazy.
The South Brisbane suburb was not so long ago an affordable area, but that's changed. The median house price here has dramatically grown in just 5 years, from $731,000 to about $1.3 million. 10 years ago, it was only $555,000.
That's the thing. What changed? Like, I understand inflation and property appreciation and all of that, but that's just gone up an extortionate amount of money. What has changed? The bricks haven't gotten gold on them. What's happened? Yes, okay, I get it, the land value. But really think about it. If you step back and just think about what has changed in that house since say you got a house that was built in 1980 or something. What has actually changed? Nothing's changed. It's just that people have traded them to each other for more and more money. And that gets us into the point where we are now, where things, you need to sell it for more and more and more. It's game theory. Zero-sum game, as they say. There's a winner and there's a loser. And then hopefully that loser then becomes a winner and finds another loser to pay more. When I say loser, I don't mean that from a derogatory perspective. That is what they call it in zero-sum theory, I think it is. Zero-sum game theory.
Housing affordability is a problem across the country, and worst in Sydney, where buyer's agent Kitty Parker sees many losing hope.
Hello, Kitty Parker, it's Kitty and Miles. 900,000 price guide. I'd estimate you're probably, off the top of my head, you're probably looking at about 1.2 million.
buyer.
We're meeting in the inner west suburb of Dulwich Hill, where one of our clients just missed out on a simple 2-bedroom apartment guiding for $800,000.
So we thought it was a bit of a shoe-in, and
before we get this, like a buyer's agents and seller's agents and all, all that sort of stuff, more specifically buyers advocates, I think people just need to educate themselves on the property market, the process. Just do it yourself. A lot of these buyers agents work in tandem with the sellers as well, just so you know. When I say sellers, the selling agent. So they'll not always have your best interest in heart. Plus you're paying them a big fat commission on whatever property you pay. Whatever you pay for a house, you've got to pay them a percentage of that. So I think people should learn the whole process themselves, spend a few months, do a bit of study, learn, self-study. All the information's on the internet. Arm yourself. Arm yourself enough to be dangerous out there, so to speak. Don't rely on other people to do it for you. Save yourself a bunch of money.
Until it wasn't.
And what did it sell for?
It ended up selling for just shy of 1.1 million.
Kitty says she's routinely seeing properties sell for well over guides and reserves.
It's getting substantially worse, and especially in the first home buyer cohort, that budget demographic, I think, is really lifting quite fast.
In Dulwich Hill, the median unit price is $973,000. In 2010, it was just $545,000, and in 2000, it was only $265,000. Amanda Buchanan lives in the area with her 16-year-old son. Even with a well-paid job, she's ruled out home ownership anytime soon.
That's just about most of the middle class. Unless you've got 2 decent incomes, I'm saying well over the median, say at least 100 each, 150 each probably you're going to need to comfortably buy a home and then service it for the rest of your life. You're going to have 2 really good incomes. It's going to be very tough now. One single high-end income, you're going to be very limited in what you can get. Pretty cooked. It isn't going to get any better. I know people are thinking there's going to be a crash and all that. My opinion is there isn't. I've been saying it forever. If you can get in, but it's the game we're playing. Everyone rushes in. Australia's got a love affair with property investment, property ownership, and people will do whatever they can to have a home and to have a piece of land more specifically as well that's theirs. They can't be kicked out of it, etc. They'll pay whatever they've got to pay. $1.5 million for a first home, no dramas. Let's go load up on debt if you can. 5% deposit, you beauty.
I can get a deposit together, I can get a mortgage, but the total cost is just unreasonable for a single income.
They need to stay in this area so her son can continue to access key therapies.
If we move far enough out to be able to afford a property, we actually lose all of the things that give us our quality of life, particularly for my son.
She's looked at first home buyer schemes to get in the market, but properties are still too expensive.
My tip at anyone, and I'm not an expert, you look at that number, that top of the band number, put 10 to 20% on top of that. That's probably what it's going to sell for. Now, people can say it's underquoting or whatever, but at the end of the day as well, you've got to think markets are irrational and people will pay. If someone wants that property, they'll pay overs for it. So it really comes down to what will someone pay for it? It isn't like the estate agent knows that someone will pay $100,000 more. They're hoping they do. They don't know what'll happen. But people will pay what they've got to pay. The market is the market. It's a free market. A house is worth whatever anyone's going to pay for it. They can have a price guide. It doesn't mean anything. It's not like you're pricing a packet of chips at the supermarket.
Most of the ways that government has tried to help first home buyers around the edges with these first home buyer assistance schemes, the general impact of those has been to make inflation worse rather than moderating it.
Yeah, sounds good though. All right, let's jump in and have a quick look at just how cooked things are getting. And we'll call it there.
Well, house prices have jumped 6% so far this year, making it harder for first home buyers to break into the market.
For more, let's bring in John Keogh, Economics Editor of the Australian Financial Review in Canberra. Johnny, good morning. So where are house prices rising the fastest?
Yeah, good morning, Carl and Sarah. So the median house price has risen $54,000 almost this year, according to Cotality. That's due to those 3 interest rate cuts we had, as well as strong population growth and also just not enough homes being built. Now, where...
Strong population growth, you mean importation? importation of people. Nah, G-man, I get this all the time. You're racist or whatever. The immigration's got nothing to do with the cost of property going up and rents going up. Okay, come on. Explain to me how it doesn't. I'm not going to get started on a rant about that 30 minutes in. That's a video for another time.
Sarah, actually, it's in the middle and lower price sections of the market, and this is actually exactly where first home buyers are trying to buy. So it is getting a bit tougher. We know the government's brought in the 5% deposit scheme for first home buyers that kicked off last month. They expanded that scheme, but that's going to bring forward further demand in that section of the market as well.
The Reserve Bank is meeting over the next 2 days. What are we likely to hear, do you reckon, from Governor Michelle Bullock?
Well, I think the message is clearly going to be no interest rate cuts, certainly not on COP Day, obviously, Carl, after that inflation shock last week, and very unlikely we'll get one at the meeting in December as well. It's going to be an awkward sort of message, though, from Bullock, because the bank's going to have to upgrade its inflation forecast, but at the same time as it's also going to have to upgrade its unemployment outlook too. So both of those things heading in the wrong direction.
Oh, no, everything's good here. The economy is going along fine. Ask Jimmy Chalmers. Inflation's under control. Unemployment's at lowest levels ever. I don't know where they get these numbers from, but I know a lot of people out there who are not in work, struggling to get work, don't have much hope at the moment. A lot of people. Put in the comments if that's your experience, or are you not seeing it? I'm saying maybe I'm seeing a different world. Maybe it's insular to my network. A lot of people out there, I know people that have been out of work for months and months, 6 months plus, people who are very well regarded in their jobs and all that sort of thing. There's just no work out there, or it's very competitive, hyper competitive.
All right, and meanwhile in Canberra, the government is battling to contain public service costs, which are blowing out.
What do you know? We don't care about that today. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Once again, have a great day.